104.5 The Team, your home for New York sports. Joining us right now, college hoops insider for Bleacher Report, among a million other places you'll probably see his byline. Reid Forgrave with us. Reid, are the Zags, I mean, this is weird. They've always been the Cinderella to me. Is Gonzaga the best team in hoops right now?
Well, I think there's probably a difference between best team and number one rated team. I think they 100% deserve to be the number one, not just the number one team in the polls, but a number one seed, if not probably the number one overall seed. Are they the best team in hoops? They could be. I think there are probably 5 or 6 teams that I would put in that conversation with who's the best team in hoops right now. I think the bigger question is who will be the best team in hoops, a month from now when the games really matter. And if you had to put a gun to my head and said pick one team, I'd probably go with Duke just because they seem like they are getting closer and closer to that sky-high ceiling. They probably never will reach that ceiling this year, but they're getting there. But if I'm looking at the Zags, I see a team that has as much of a shot as anybody at winning the national title. Like, I get that all January and all February, their competition is lackluster, to say the least. But if you look at the talent on this roster, if you look at the depth, and if you look at, frankly, the cohesion, the way that all these guys play together, the way that Nigel Williams-Goss has been, I think, in the conversation for one of the best, basketball quarterbacks in the country, just directing this team. I think this team is awesome. And I got to be honest, I'm rooting for Mark Few to make a Final Four just so everyone can stop making these silly arguments, be like, oh, he can't make a Final Four. It's not that he can't. It's a single elimination tournament every March, and it's really hard to make a Final Four. I think this team is great. I really do.
Reid Forgrave with us. Now, Reid, you brought up Duke, and I traditionally hate the scrappy white player from Duke. I was all over Grayson Allen early in his career. Somewhere along the line this year, I've fallen in love with his antics. Like we treat him like a heel from wrestling on the show. I love Grayson Allen. Should I?
I like Grayson Allen. I think the media, I use that word very loosely. There's no such thing as the media. It's not like it's one voice. But, like, the way that people have piled on him, on television, on the talk shows, I'd call them the squawk shows on TV, on the blogs, on Twitter, it's, I think, hugely unfair, especially for the fact that he's a 20-year-old college kid. Has he screwed up? Yes. I can count 3 times over the past 12 months that he's screwed up. And I can count about 15 times where we've tried to slow motion, an arm movement from him that proves that he once again deserves to be suspended and is the biggest villain in college basketball history. I think it's silly. I think he paid his penance, and I think, frankly, you want to people make fun of Coach K for a 1-game suspension. I say, hey, that was a 2-week suspension. He was stripped of his captaincy. There were other things that happened here. It may look like Coach K was easy on him, but I don't really think that was the case. I think he got about what he deserved, and I think that the rest of us have really, made this into something that it isn't. I think he's actually a really good kid. I know that, he sounds like he's kind of your anti-hero, like
right.
He's your Tony Soprano, right?
Yeah, I love him.
Reid, you were there at Cameron Indoor Stadium for the Duke-Carolina matchup, and you're the second person who's joined us who almost has that famous picture of the selfie with the Cameron Crazies behind them. The last person we talked to, she said she was under the armpit of a college student, but she made it work, and it's a crazy experience. Do you feel those same things when you're a media member right in front of the Cameron Crazies?
It is, I think, a top 3 venue, not in college basketball, not in college sports, but in American sports, especially when you're there for a UNC game. It's unreal. Like, I swear, it was a week ago. My ears are still ringing from that game. I'm not even sure if I got the paint out of my favorite dress shirt that I made the mistake of wearing. It smells terrible because Cameron Crazies, they're crazy, and I think they need a little bit more deodorant. You learn to bring a handful of extra waters from the media room out to the Cameron Crazies who are sitting right behind you, because you want to curry a little bit of favor for them, because it's really hard to get in and get out, and it's really nice when they give you a little bit of a hand. I think it is, that to me, especially when UNC's in town, that's what college basketball is all about. I didn't grow up a Duke fan. I grew up a Duke hater. like so many people, just because I was someone who always rooted against, the privileged, white, some might say, school that has all the talent. And yet I flipped on that. It's my favorite place to go. It really is.
Reid Forgrave, he covers college hoops for the Bleacher Report and, of course, other places as well. So we've got the Mack Tournament coming up here. They've got Monmouth leading the way. We're of course, pulling for Siena. American East is going to be coming through here. Vermont leading the way, of course, where you, Albany. But can you see a Cinderella this year coming from Mack or the America East?
Stop. I mean, look, I think Monmouth is a good team. I think they built that into a really solid program. To me, there's a bit of a separation this year between the really good high majors and mid-major schools. Like, I don't count Gonzaga as a mid-major. I don't count Wichita State as a mid-major. But if I look at the rest of mid-majorville, I see Valparaiso as a team that I think could make a bit of a Cinderella run. But here's the thing. You got to make the tournament. And to make the tournament out of these leagues, almost always, you got to win your conference tournament. So oftentimes, the best team in mid-major conferences don't make the conference tournament, which don't make the NCAA tournament. It makes the conference tournaments have some stakes. It makes them a lot more fun, but I find it to be really unfair to some of these mid-major schools. Like, I look at back when Steve Prohm, before he went to Iowa State, his Murray State team from 2 years ago, the team with Cameron Payne on it, they lost to, I think, Belmont in the conference title game in the most painful way possible. Murray State was a team that was ranked in the top 25 at points during the season. They were a team that I thought could have made a run in the NCAA tournament, but they didn't even make it. To me, and I know I'm saying some bad things to people in upstate New York, last year when Syracuse made the tournament, I was very much against that. I know they made the Final Four, but that doesn't justify the fact that they got in. I would much rather have a team like St. Bonaventure from last year. The sort of the mid-major team that has some excitement to it, that has some storylines to it, but when they can't win their conference tournament, they get left out in the cold. I find it to be very unfair.
Reid, you got a chance to redeem yourself here for upstate New York fans. Is Syracuse basketball this season a tournament team in your eyes?
They might be, which is crazy to think, because like a month ago, when they lost to St. John's by 33 at home. But yeah, they certainly might be. They still have some work to do, but like they have, if you look at their collection of like top 50 wins, few of them better than beating Virginia a couple weeks ago. But there's some other really good wins. Like there aren't more than 10 or 11 teams in all of college hoops that have a better resume than them. I think if they'd beaten Louisville on Monday night, we'd probably be having a very different conversation right now where I'd say, yeah, absolutely they're in. I think they are on the bubble. I think they need to have – look, if you look at the rest of their schedule, they got 4 games, and 2 of them – you got to circle that Duke at home coming up in a week, and that's the one that you got to win because I don't think you're going to beat Louisville on the road. And you have Georgia Tech twice, and that's not going to matter one bit. You better win those games, but winning them isn't going to do all that much for your RPI. So circle that Duke game at home. If they beat Duke at home, yes, I think they get in. If they don't beat Duke at home and also lose to Louisville, I would expect them to probably go 2-2 over their last 4. Then I think they're going to have some pretty serious work to do in their conference tournament.
You're breaking Gaz's heart.
Oh, you should see the smile on Levack's face finding out that the Louisville loss might have cost them and this, that. Oh, Levack is enjoying my misery so much right now, the Syracuse guy.
I love it.
I got nothing against Cuse. I just like when Gaz suffers.
I don't blame you, dude. I went to the University of Missouri, and I have always, until I got into college basketball as a reporter, got to know Bill Self, and got a huge amount of respect for the Kansas program. But as a fan, I enjoyed Kansas losing 10 times more than I enjoyed Mizzou winning.
Reid Forgrave, read his stuff at Bleacher Report, and you'll see that byline a lot of places, man. We appreciate you. You're a Hoops insider, and thanks for helping me watch Gaz squirm for a little bit today.
Anytime, call me anytime if you want to hear me make him continue to squirm, especially if they lose those 2 games coming up.
We'll be hearing from Reid real soon.